Sing to the rock, sing to the tree, sing to the firefly lighting up the sky. Sing, sing to the sea.
Hello, I'm Mary Wheelan, and this is The Song, a show that features songwriters and their original songs. And today I am very pleased to welcome back Esther Friedman with Doug Quartler.
1, 2, 3. Route to west, setting sun, tears roll down, another day done. Clouds give way to orange rays, heading home to leave again. Heading home to leave again. Route to west, waltz and wend, dance with the river, a heart to mend. Memories beckon from this motorway, heading home to leave again. Heading home to leave again. River road and I, we wind and bend, two shadows dancing in the gloaming. Water beckons me to attend. This soul who is weary of roaming, for these four wheels are wearing grooves up and down this route, heeding a call, calling me home, just to turn around and chase the moon. Route to west, stars blink bright, icy black rivers wind into night. River road, don't you let me stray. Soon I'm heading home to stay. Heading home to leave again. Heading home to leave again. Heading home to leave again. Heading home to leave again.
All right.
All right.
This
Sorry.
one's called.
This one's called Starry Eyed Believer. Starry-eyed believer seeks any kind face. You the deceiver sensed a trace that Starry-eyed believer seeks any kind word. You the deceiver saw and heard the hollow voice and the pleading look. Grabbed your fishing pole and slipped the bait on the hook. So the siren song begins, so sweet and full of lies, such a seductive melody and such a pretty disguise. Lost souls float aimlessly, waiting on you, set them free, mouths agape and biting for the bait. Custom made for you to captivate. So let the feeding frenzy begin on that devout disguise. You are ready for the bait and switch. You got a lot of fish to fry. Bottom feeders, parasites, sharks on the hunt, vultures in flight. Even Bernie Madoff's got nothing on you. Get your cauldron out, you've got some guppies to stew. Starry-eyed believer, ooh, ah, starry-eyed believer, starry-eyed believer, ooh, ah, starry-eyed believer.
Well, I'm so glad that you could come back.
Thank you,
again.
Mary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
Thank you for
Now-
inviting me.
Yeah, and now the songs that you just did and the ones you're about to do after the interview are all from a new CD that you're working on,
That I'm
right?
working on, yes, with Doug.
With Doug. Doug's
He's
producing
producing,
it?
yes.
Great.
Yeah.
And now you want to talk some about it because it's part of a one-woman show kind of thing?
Yes,
Like,
so this has been rolling out, as I told you, since I left a group and realized it was a cult. 5 years. So
you were 5 years in a cult, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I say that, I'm like, is this my life? You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's something that impacts a lot of people.
Yeah, it does.
really
You
does.
know, that's what I've learned because at this point, I'm kind of obsessed with the whole phenomenon. And I've done lots of research and talked to lots of people, and it's a bigger problem than you would know, you know, based on, you know, I mean, media covers like big stories from Scientology and things like that, but there are tons of just little secretive groups. So
Now, how would you say that a cult? What makes something a cult rather than a religion?
You know, that's
Or
such a good
church.
question, and it's a question that always comes up. So there are these, I guess you could call them bullet points or, I don't know, red lights. And typically cults they start with a lie, So everything is based on deception. So the recruitment is even a lie. For example, my recruitment was a woman who just spoke to me in a grocery store and struck up a friendship and was like, hey, we should get together. And she literally spent like 2 months, calling me, let's go out for coffee, and then invited me to this group. Mm-hmm. And that deception continues throughout your membership, I guess I'll say. So there's a level of secrecy in cults that don't exist in legitimate groups. So that's the first thing. The second thing is there's always some charismatic leader. I've heard people say that 12-step meetings are a cult, but 12 steps don't have one charismatic leader. And then they always come down to the same thing. All of these groups really are the same, and all they want is new members who have checkbooks, who will pay for membership. So those are three of the kind of main things that would set aside a group like that. Oh, and the secrecy is huge, I think. Yeah.
I remember about a long time ago, maybe like 40 years ago, a friend of mine, she began to realize maybe this is not for her, and once they wanted her to pretty much deplete her savings account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's typical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, I don't know. A legitimate church group is not going to want you to deplete your savings. They're not going to want you to be secretive about where you are. They're not going to alienate you from your friends and family. And these groups all do that. It's, it's standard fare, really.
Yeah. So you decided you had written some songs that had to do with your experience. So
I realized,
putting them together for this.
At a certain point. So I left the group.
Yeah.
And trust me, you don't just leave a group and be like, oh, I'm leaving a cult. You leave and then you look back at the experience and you think, what happened to me? Okay. And at that point, I started writing, and it turned into this blog, which became kind of the online meeting ground for other ex-members of this particular group. But I realized I had songs that I had written during that time, and they were kind of a soundtrack to my experience. And then other songs came after I'd left. For example, Bridges, which you'll hear later, came after. So, I realized, number one, I had a soundtrack, and number two, I had a story. And number three, I have this raison d'etre, where I feel like I've learned a lot, and I feel like the process of writing my story, writing my songs, speaking out, and talking about this thing that nobody talks about. How many times are you going to hear somebody say, like, oh, let me tell you about the 5 years I spent in a cult? You're not going to hear that. But that the secrecy is such a problem that I don't know. I felt like it was kind of rolling out into this, what I'm calling a presentation, an educational presentation or public awareness raising. Adventure.
I would think that organizations that work with teenagers or young adults might be very interested in having a presentation like that.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. I think churches, schools, mental health facilities, colleges. I went to Leslie, and they have an expressive therapy program there. You know.
Yeah, you have a master's.
I do.
That,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's great. So it sounds like you've already got some places in mind as possible places you could present it.
Yeah, I have general ideas anyway.
Now, if anybody watching this show is interested in having you do the presentation for them at their organization or school or whatever, how can they reach you about it?
That is a good question. I would say if you go to the blog, which is cultconfessions.com, and go to the Contact Me tab, that you can send me an email.
Through there?
Yeah, through there.
So that's cultconfessions.com.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And now you also, in terms of presence online, you also have a Reverb Nation page,
I do.
right?
Yep.
With some really good music on there that people can
Thank
listen
you.
to.
Yeah, yeah, and that's not all cult music. I have some that's not.
You have some that's not. Well, and you know, people could listen to it and not necessarily know that it's about your cult experience, because
Right.
it's really not. It's something people could relate to and think of other things. I once wrote a song that I in no way thought of as having anything to do with cancer at all, or surviving cancer, and yet a cancer survivor contacted me about how wonderful the song was for her.
Oh, no
and I'm
kidding.
thinking to myself, how is that? That's not what I intended. But
Yeah.
people can get different meanings from what
Yeah.
you intended,
Yeah.
for sure. And
Yeah.
it can relate to a lot of people's lives, even if they haven't experienced being in a cult.
Yeah, because I think the themes are, they're human themes, really. The song "Stars Took Him Over" is about losing my father. So everyone's lost somebody. right?
Everybody's lost somebody.
Yeah.
And I would probably say it's not necessarily specifically about her experience in all those songs are not specifically about her experience interacting with what happened in this situation, but they're also about what was going on for you during this time,
Right.
and how that kind of relates. And so these songs are about love and loss and being tricked into things, and these are life themes that go on for anyone, really, in different experiences for life, I think. So I think they're kind of universal in that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, I mean, River Road is definitely about just feeling lost, and like I'm traveling this circuitous route and not really getting anywhere, and that's a pretty. I think a lot of people experience
Oh,
that.
sure.
you know?
Yeah. So it's like much more universal than just the experience.
I think so, yeah.
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 There's a much more universal
Yeah.
theme involved in it.
Yeah.
And they're really good songs, too.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying them.
Yeah. So, but anyway, you've got a couple more you're going to do.
Yeah.
And is there anything you'd like to say about the two that you're about to do?
Well, let's see. So, Stars I'm going to play, which I mentioned, is about losing my father. And I guess, that song, it's about him. It's more about growing up, what that happens. It's such a shock to lose a parent, and you go, wait, now it's up to me. It's on me. So that's what I would say about Stars Took Him Over. And then Some Bridges Should Burn is really directly about the cult. And actually, it came out of a workshop with Cozy Sheridan. You know her?
Yeah, I know that. I've never met her, but I know of her.
Well, she did a songwriting workshop, and the prompt was, "What bridges have you burned?" And that was last fall. I went out to Star Island and did this workshop with her, and I don't know. It really couldn't have been a more perfect question, because I started thinking about the idea of never burning bridges, and then I thought, but some should. Some should go. So.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good hook.
Oh, thank you. I like that hook. It's very cathartic.
Okay, well, why don't you do a couple more songs?
Okay, thank you,
for us?
Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
This one is called Stars Took Him Over.
1, 2, 3.
Branches bare, sprouted tiny green leaves, waning winter ended finally. He asked me about spring.
Thank you. All right.
Okay.
Songs, bridges.
You ready?
Hey Jude. No, just
Yes. Okay. This song is called Some Bridges Should Burn. Dawn reached through the dark into my room, shook me awake. My feet walked to the park. I stood alone and watched the night fade. Sun rose above the trees, bearing down on a choice I had to make. Two roads met in the leaves, there at the edge of fear and faith. Some bridges should burn, a lesson learned with kerosene and matches. Some bridges should burn 'em down to smoke and ashes. Alone in an empty field, morning light revealed how I'd been deceived. Lies, secrets